When I think of NASCAR, I think of one man, Adam Longo, because he loves NASCAR and knows NASCAR like the back of his hand. The chase race, officially, it gets started this Sunday at the Chicagoland Motor Speedway. 1 of 10, 16 drivers vying for the points title. A new format this year in NASCAR. After every 3 chase races, 4 drivers get eliminated. Longo, do you like this new format?
This is incredible. It provides and brings incredible drama. It's win or go home, basically. You get whittled down the last 10 weeks of the season. So essentially, we're starting here with 16 drivers going into the chase. After 3 races, so after Dover, which is the 3rd race, we're going to be whittled down to 12 drivers. Then it's going to go down to 8. Then it's going to go down to 4. The points reset every time. So whether you finish 43rd or 3rd, doesn't matter. Winner take all. Now, the one caveat of this is you win any of these races, you automatically advance. So you could crash out the other 2 races. If you win, you move on.
So once again, Adam Longo knows NASCAR like the back of his hand. So that being said, the first 3 races, Chicagoland Motor Speedway, New Hampshire, Dover. Who's going home and why?
Sure. Okay, so here's my picks, and we're going to focus here on who I think is going home. A.J. Allmendinger is won the race there at Watkins Glen. I think he's going to go home. That team just doesn't have the power to compete with all of the other teams, I don't believe. Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman's only got 2 top 5s on the season. I don't think he's going to be able to hang in there. Greg Biffle, he's the Roush driver I'm going to send packing. And then also, what I think we have going on here is kind of like an NCAA, like a college basketball bracket system, where you might have somebody who's shocking go down, and you might have a Cinderella story move forward. I think that Cinderella story is going to be Eric Almirola. I think he's going to move forward. But at that expense, I don't think Denny Hamlin's going to be able to get it done. Now, the one thing here, Denny Hamlin's going to have a great shot at winning the race at New Hampshire. Of course, if he wins that, he'll advance. He's in. Carl Edwards, I was kind of on the fence about moving forward. I do have him advancing, but he doesn't have a good average finish at these 3 tracks, Chicago, New Hampshire, and Dover. Roush Fenway Racing, the team he's racing for, they have been struggling this year, so I'm not sure Carl Edwards will get it done, and I do think that if he doesn't, that Denny Hamlin will go in there in his place.
So the bottom line, if a NASCAR driver wins a race, they will automatically advance, and it sounds like the stronger racing teams have the advantage. So after Kansas, Charlotte, and Talladega, who's moving on and who's watching TV?
And it's so interesting when you look at how these races and these tracks are grouped together and who might have the best advantage here. Because Talladega is one of those races, you got to put Dale Jr. in the next round. You know that that's going to happen. So who did I take out? Joey Logano. I don't think he's going to be able to compete and perform well at these 3 races, Kansas, Charlotte, and Talladega. With the Penske team, he's run great all season. I just don't think he's going to be able to clinch and get it through there. The Busch brothers, I think, are out. A lot of people might see this as a surprise. Kyle Busch, we know he's a monster driver at any track he goes to, but Joe Gibbs Racing just hasn't been making it happen this season. Kurt Busch, not a great average finish at these 3 tracks, and this is also where I think the Cinderella story is going to end for Eric Almirola.
Okay, 3 races left before Homestead. Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix. Let's talk a little bit about these tracks. Who has the advantage and who possibly could be going bye-bye?
Right. I think if Denny Hamlin actually made it here, he would have the advantage. The interview I did with him, we can also see that online. I think he would be great at these 3 tracks. But the drivers who I think are going to end up going home here, I think Dale Jr. I don't think that he's going to make it. He doesn't have a solid average finish at these. These are not 3 of his best tracks, so I don't think he's going to make it happen at Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix. Carl Edwards, this is where I see him going home as well. He's performed great at Phoenix. He could win that race. He was leading that race last year, ran out of gas, and Kevin Harvick ended up winning that race. Martinsville, he doesn't do too well at. Casey Kane, I think this is where he goes home. This is kind of where I had to put a little intuition into it rather than looking at the averages. Matt Kenseth, I think he goes home here too, just because Joe Gibbs Racing, they have not had the horsepower to compete with the Hendrick Motorsports and the Stewart-Haas Racing teams this year.
So the bottom line of your 4 drivers, 3 are past champions. Kevin Harvick looking for his first points title. So that being said, 3 veterans, 1 looking for his first points champion. Who, all said and done, is raising the hardware at Homestead?
Before we do the big reveal, what do you think? Out of these 4 drivers I have picked, Brad Keselowski, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick. Those are the 4 that I think will be the ones contending for the championship at Homestead. What are your thoughts?
The big thing, Kevin Harvick recently, he switched crew teams with the Stewart-Haas Racing. Tony Stewart gave him his racing team. Harvick has had a great year. He's led about 12 100 laps this year, which leads the NASCAR circuit this year. So he has a great chance. But I think I'm going to go wild card. I think this is the year Jeff Gordon breaks through. He's had a great season, a lot of top tens, about 3-4 wins this year. I think Jeff Gordon gets back in the winner's circle.
I think that's a great pick. Jeff Gordon would have been my pick. He's my second pick, except I'm picking Kevin Harvick to win it all. And let me tell you why. He's got the best average finish at Homestead of all of these other drivers. In fact, it's his best track if you take the past 2 years and look at his averages. Brad Keselowski, he doesn't have any top five finishes at Homestead. Jimmy Johnson has been abysmal at Homestead. Now, you could also consider that is because he goes in there with a points lead he doesn't want to lose, that they've been racing conservative at Homestead over the years. Jeff Gordon does have a win there. He is hot there too, but I really think when you look at Homestead, man to man, up against it with these four drivers, I think Kevin Harvick, the way he's been performing this year, and you take that with his average finish at Homestead, that Stewart-Haas race team is going to put everything they can behind Kevin Harvick with that Hendrick Motorsports engine under the hood. I think Kevin Harvick gets it done, brings home his first Sprint Cup championship.
Kevin Harvick, the kid from Bakersfield, California, that's who Longo likes. We'll see how it all plays out this weekend. The Chicagoland Motor Speedway, Kyle Busch is on the pole.